to Game Muscle Videos and welcome to Google Earth! VR, the virtual reality Google Earth. Now, it's been out for a couple of days, so there'll be tons of videos and people having their minds blown by this, and they're correctly so, because this is literally probably the top VR experience that you could put someone in at this point in time. If you were going to introduce someone to VR and you wanted their minds to literally exit through their ear holes in surprise and delight, Google Earth VR would be the title that you show them. But because it's been out for a while, there'll be lots of videos of it. What I really wanted to do in this video was focus the camera lens on why Google Earth is so good and what they've actually done with Google Earth that makes it so special. Because it really isn't just a case of it being Google Earth in virtual reality. It is Google Earth in virtual reality, don't be mistaken. But that's not really where the magic comes in. The magic comes from all the subtle aspects of design that they put into this, and I really wanted to draw attention to them. Now, first things first, when you load in, you get put to different locations and you get to take them in. But what you do notice is that they've done a really clever thing with the way that they scaled the environment. So depending on how close you are to objects with your camera will affect the actual three-dimensional scale. So when you're far away, such as myself now, I'm sort of like a giant, the scale of everything is very small, so it looks like one of those model train sets, or if you go to one of those museums, it looks like one of those models, like dioramas. And it just has that effect of really sort of wowing you, because you get to take in so much of the environment at that scale, and it really is mind-boggling. Because I think the thing is, it isn't quite photoreal. So by having the model scale when you're zoomed out, making it look like a model, actually makes it look more photoreal, because it looks like a model rather than it looking like the real thing. But what's really nice, when you actually get closer to objects, when you actually zoom in, you can fly and then just hold down the trigger to move her in closer. This is just like how many objects this is like flight simulator autogen technology on crack. But as you zoom in and you get closer and closer to the ground, the scale, we've had one shift there, so things look a bit bigger than they did before. But as I get close to the ground, when you get right next to things, the scale is now as it would look like if I was here in real life. Now, obviously, whoa, we're going off the edge of the cliff. Obviously, the resolution isn't perfect, and when you get this close, you start to see that it's some kind of nightmarish landscape. It's as if you've had too much LSD, fallen asleep, and woken up in some crazy, distorted Picasso world. But outside of the nightmarish distortion, because the scale of it's 1-to-1, it actually does very much resemble the experience of being there in the real world, which is really, really incredible. And I think I haven't really seen other people talk about this, the aspect of the scale changing so much, but that does have a huge effect on the wow, the wow factor of Google Earth VR. And that's where they murder animals. Moving away from the animal murder centre, we go into outer space. And one of the incredible things with this is the sense of scale. Now, I'm someone that, I've always loved globes and maps and everything, but none of them, not even giant projections or HD videos or anything, even footage from the ISS, none of them capture the actual scale of the Earth in terms of what it actually looks like to look at the Earth. And zooming out of the planet, this is almost a religious experience. I wouldn't be surprised if people doing this start crying and flood their VR headsets and have a very expensive replacement to deal with. But doing this right here is absolutely mind-boggling. So we've zoomed outside, away from Spain, and we're currently looking at France here. And we're sort of, I guess, a geostationary satellite. There's some clouds over the UK, that's what we're used to. We're not quite, actually, at the distance for a geostationary satellite. I think we're a bit too close to that. But let's get into a couple of 100 miles above the surface of the Earth, and let's position ourselves over the somewhat depressing, somewhat isolationist and miserable land of the United Kingdom. Mostly not united, but we're going to position ourselves there, and we're now a little bit closer. We're still a bit higher than I think what the ISS would encircle the globe. I think it would be more, but round about here. Intuitively speaking, this is the height of the ISS. But just here, now, perceptually, I have a bloody great big planet in my face. I can touch out and touch it. Strangely, my hands must be ginormous. My Steam controller is the size of Greater London. Oh dear. Just killed the population of London with a globe. That's sort of globe inception there for all the Londoners. They're wondering why Australia has just flattened and decimated the population of Great Britain. But these things happen when you've got an incompetent VR god navigating around the globe. But just the scale of the planet, and you can actually stick your face into the atmosphere, which is incredible. Look at that. Space, sunshine, Earth, space. Our head would probably burn up in the atmosphere at the speed we're doing that. From the perspective of people on Earth, there's a big gormless British guy smashing his skull into the atmosphere. That's probably just caused 300 years worth of global warming. Sorry, people of Earth, I didn't mean to. But this scale, I keep saying it, the scale's incredible. Also, you can rotate the Earth. Though it looks like you're rotating space. I guess it's all relative. So you can see the sunrise, and you see it sort of lights up the atmosphere. It's all very nice, and you can see that Earth is a bit like Great Britain is a bit like North Korea. We've run out of electricity. Unfortunately, we don't have any power because Europe doesn't want to give us any anymore, and we've got to sample our coal mines again. But we'll put up the sun so we can see. So we'll rotate the Earth towards the sun. As I say, all relative. But just seeing the Earth from this angle and then zooming in, this is what's incredible. So we're in our little spaceship approaching the planet, and we're coming in at some rate of knots here. But coming in like this, over there, let's go over Big Ben. Let's just rotate a little bit. Where are we? There's many, there we go, there's the wheel. And there is the House of Parliament. The houses of disorganised government located here with Big Ben. Of course, that's the bell, not the actual building. But if you look at the planet like this, it really gives you a completely unique perspective of being on a planet. There's something about seeing it at this angle, coming from outer space. You see the globe. Of course, this is all lies because everyone knows the Earth is indeed flat. This is obviously being made round for the sake of making it a convenient demonstration. But you come in from outer space, and just that experience of seeing the Earth like that. I can imagine. Of course, it'd be nothing like that for astronauts re-entering the Earth. They're too busy sat in their seats going, "Oh my God, we're going to die!" But maybe on the rocket launch when they look out the window, just the sort of intuitive realisation that it is, just a very thin bit of crust with some dirty people on it and some trees and buildings, and then atmosphere, and then seemingly infinite space, and it's all just very, it's not that far away, and just seeing it from this angle. My words are not doing it justice. I'm not exactly a wordsmith. I'm sort of the Neanderthal scribble on a cave wall when it comes to using language to describe what I mean. But hopefully you can get a vague idea of what I'm talking about through this video. But ideally, you need to get a VR headset and try it. So I'm just going to put my head in the River Thames and look at the Earth from this angle. Check out some of the buildings in London. We've got I was going to say that's the IMAX cinema. That's the IMAX cinema. But that aspect of scale and appreciation for how insignificant there's Trafalgar Square. How insignificant Earth, people, and everything is. It's all relative again. Everything's relative. It's only as significant as you make it. But on a sort of physical scale, on a scale of objects, sizes and what have you, how insignificant everything is very well presented by Google Earth. Let's rotate around here. Whoop! Unbelievable. So, another thing that they've done really well with Google Earth is the comfort mode, which I've turned off because I'm a lunatic. But you put the comfort mode on, and what you get is, when you stood still, moving around, it's all very clear. But as soon as you start dragging and moving, which you tend to do a lot of in Google Earth, you get this sort of vignetted in-focus circle in the centre of your vision, and then the outer part of that is just a diffuse colour of whatever is in the environment. So it actually works really effectively to make you feel grounded. There's also a sort of checkerboard graph paper floor to make you really feel like that, that's a solid floor that you stood on, and it very much makes you feel quite stable and grounded. So you can actually whiz around like pretty much in a way that you would not want to move around in VR. And for the most part, it's actually very comfortable considering how extreme the movements are. Now, I would say if you're someone that's hypersensitive to motion sickness, this wouldn't, this might, you probably still will feel a degree of motion sickness, because I can feel it. Although it doesn't bother me, I can sort of feel that the sense of what would trigger motion sickness. But if you're sort of comfortable with moving around in VR, or you just don't get motion sick at all, this mode is really good and just goes a long way to improving comfort. If you've got a lead-lined stomach and you're really experienced with VR, you generally just feel quite grounded, regardless of if your face is in a washing machine. You can just turn it off and just have it always in focus anyway. So for those of you that are comfortable, it's not a problem either way. Look at this terrain; it looks fantastic. I mean, it's such an enjoyable way to just look at the Earth and experience the different environments of the Earth. I mean, there's no real excuse. We're getting sidetracked again now, but for schools or museums, just put Google Earth and a HTC Vive in a room in a school or museum and have people use it, and it's just incredible. It's so incredible what it can show you about the Earth, and then what you can get from it. Not just in terms of, obviously you can learn the different places, see the different places look different, but you can then combine this with sort of educational content, like have a narrator that explains how different things are formed and why these rocks are shaped like this, how the water will have come off the hills and carved the shapes in the ground, and the different types of rocks, and how tectonic plate activity works, how the environments have changed. If you have this combined with the data of they've got their temporal data of it changing over time, so you look at the poles and you can see how they change year on year through summer and winter, but also how our effects on the environment, how drastically that's changing the world. That can all be demonstrated in your face in a very undeniable and very intuitive visual way that I don't think people, you could dismiss something from a book, and maybe when you see a film or something, you'd be like, okay, well, it's a film, it's being edited. But if you show it in VR, I think it has more of a sort of ornate, immediate, intuitive impact. I think I'm using words incorrectly, but that's just normal. That's how we roll. So, before I get lost in the educational potential of VR and Google Earth VR, another really awesome thing they've got is this little hand globe for navigating around, and you just point at it and you can rotate your hand and look at this globe, which is actually, even if you just had this in VR and you were just looking at this and you were going to go, oh, okay, there's different places, it points out the names of them, that's pretty cool in and of itself. But the fact that you could just click on it and then go there, let's say where we're going to go to. We're not going to Australia, that's not a real place, that's just where English people went to get some sunshine, that's not a real location. I feel like going to Paris, actually. Let's go to Paris, round about here. Accuracy. Oh, we missed it a little bit. Whoop, there we go. We've positioned ourselves. We're going to zoom in. There we go. We were a bit too far south. Let's find the Le Tour Eiffel. No, that's not it. We've We need to reorientate ourselves here. We've probably... There it is. I got a little bit confused there. It's like the anticlimactic Eiffel Tower. It's the mini Eiffel Tower that not many people know about. The real Eiffel Tower, that one's the fake. Oh dear, a little bit disorientated. Let's go over to the Eiffel Tower here. So, incredible. We're now in France and it loads in pretty fast. The tree, oh, we've got a bit, there we go, cut out there. The trees need to load in a little bit. This is, you know, France takes a little bit of time to load. First, we have to have an omelette, and then we go and have a baguette and some fromage. And yes, we're now going to Russian. We're now ready. We've loaded Paris. That was almost racist. I love French people, so it's not racism. Whenever you go to Paris, or you go to the Eiffel Tower, they have these little statues with a granite base and a plastic Eiffel Tower on it. Why? I don't know. Whoever invented that? Who came up with that? You don't have that with the House of Parliament or Grand Canyon. Maybe you do. Maybe if you go to the Grand Canyon, you can buy a little statue with a... Oh, it makes sense with the Grand Canyon because that's bloody rock. Oh, I'll get sidetracked again. But there you go. Eiffel Tower, land of plastic statues. And look at this. You can... Having actually been to the top of the Eiffel Tower myself, let's... move slowly. Whoa! Me too. Hang on. We need to... Whoa, we're upside down! No, we're not. There we go. We need to get in there. So, as long as you've got human scale turned on... There we go. Whoa! Oh, for some reason, we're struggling to get on the Eiffel Tower. Okay, we're going to have to... The lifts are out of order. We're going to have to settle... There we go. Again, you notice here, as I say, the scale has switched. So we're now actually... This pretty much mirrors what it looks like to be stood on the Eiffel Tower and look out over Paris, which is again incredible. A little bit static, not much movement going on there, but you know, can't ask for too much. It's pretty incredible as it is. Okay, so lastly, before we wrap up this video, one thing that I think will have a lot of power and potential is the tours. Unfortunately, at this point in time, from the tours I've checked out, they don't have any narration or anything particularly complex. They just move you from location to location. And they're a really good introduction to cool spots on our little planet and places that you would quite like to visit. And places that have also been scanned to a high quality by the Google overlords. But I think combining those tours with narration, even if it's just community made, and you can imagine having David Attenborough narrate these. Here we are at Yellowstone Park. The gazelles that don't live here can be seen marching over the hill. Okay, it's gone now, and they've unfortunately drowned in the geyser. The geyser. I don't know how you talk. That's why I'm not a nature presenter. But having that sort of narration and explanation of things, as I say, the educational potential, if they combine that with template information and animations, will be extraordinary and massively increase the educational value of Google Earth VR. But there you go. I think that pretty much gives you an introduction to Google Earth VR, why you should be excited about it. And if you haven't yet tried VR, why, let's just exit the tour. Why you need to try VR. You need to try it with Google Earth. Google Earth VR is probably the one of the best introductions to VR and the power of VR. There's a Colosseum. Look at that. It's absolutely extraordinary. So hopefully you enjoyed this video though, and it was a valid and mildly a valid and mildly entertaining video introducing you to Google Earth VR. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know what you'd like to see more of in the comments. I'll put a link to subscribe to us and some of our other VR videos on the screen. But until the next video we do, thanks for watching and goodbye.